How's it going, everyone? The scheduled banned and restricted announcement is now live on the Blood TCG website. I haven't read this article yet. I don't know what's in it. I don't know if anything's actually gonna be banned. Personally, I think some changes are required for Briar, so maybe that's gonna be in this particular article. But I wanted to just turn on the camera, well, not the camera, turn on the screen recorder, turn on the microphone, and just have a little bit of a read through this entire thing and see what I think and share my thoughts and opinion about it all. So let's just dive into this together, and shall we, so that you can just read along with me. I'll put the link down in the comments or something so you can click it, and I'll just go through all of this and see what it is. How long is it? Oh, it's quite a lot of stuff, but let's have a look what's going on now. So the classic constructed. When this ban and restricted announcement was scheduled for December 14, it was done so with consideration to the National Championship season, Skirmish Season 3 and the Calling Utrecht all being completed. With COVID restrictions causing postponements to Australia, New Zealand and Singapore National Championships, as well as the Calling Utrecht, the current Tales of Aria Classic Constructed competitive season is yet to conclude. In general, our position is not to make changes to the banned and restricted list mid-season. As such, there are no changes to the Classic Constructed format at this time. We do want to take this opportunity to note that while we acknowledge Briar Warden of Thorns has had a very successful National Championship season to date, it has been pleasing to see that players around the world explore and exploit the metagame puzzle to success. In particular, Ultim and Chain and to a lesser extent Kano and Lexi have demonstrated positive win percentages against Briar as the metagame has matured. From our internal testing, we believe that there is still room for deck and strategy innovations to emerge in the classic constructed metagame, and are comfortable allowing the remainder of the Tales of Aria competitive season to be played out with no changes to the classic constructed at this time. For Blitz, it says Skirmish Season 3 concluded on December 5th with over 150 Blitz format events running across the world. Note, Skirmish Season 3 was a mixed format season with more than half of the skirmish events featuring booster drafts. The results shown in the table below show 5 different heroes spread across 5 different classes posting double-digit event win percentages. Outside of the big 5 heroes, another 7 heroes secured event wins, demonstrating that mastery of lesser favorite heroes can deliver events in the current Blitz metagame. We are satisfied with the current state of the Blitz metagame, and therefore there are no changes to the Blitz format at this time. So let's have a look at this nice table then, shall we? So what do we see? We have Briar winning 37 events, Dorinthia 31, Ultim 26, Ira 22, Kano 18, and Chain 10. I think the rest can pretty much be ignored. Lexi spiking here is not that surprising to me, considering there have been a lot of Briar players in general, but yeah, I feel seeing it like this, it almost seems like Briar is kind of fair in the Blitz format, but from personal experience, I have to say, having navigated and having played against Briar, the deck is extremely oppressive, and I'm mostly talking from my local metagame, but I know at least 2 players that have quit playing Flesh and Blood completely because every time they get paired up against a Briar player, they cannot do anything at all. The entire game just consists of them blocking out the entire game to not die and then losing in the end anyway, so I'm not really sure if that is the kind of gameplay Legend Story Studios wants for the game, but I hear for the most part nothing but negative comments in regards to this deck, and I'm not sure. Like, yeah, if you look here, it's not that much of a percentage higher over the other decks, but at the same time, I mean, it's almost 23%. It's still the highest percent win rate among all these decks, right? And I feel for like top finishes, that's quite significant. That's almost 4% higher than Dorinthia, for example, and how much higher? Like for almost 7% higher than Ultim. And Ira, let's talk about Ira. Ira is the deck that people seem to say like is absolutely unfair, right? Because you have your flick flags, you have like all the very consistent game patterns that Ira creates. I even Kano, which is a very consistent deck in competitive, but when I see that Ira has almost half of the wins that Briar has, then I'm not really sure why they are satisfied with the current state of the Blitz metagame. Maybe I'm a nitpicker that I want everything to be balanced. Like in a perfect world, I would like to see some, like, how many heroes are there? Like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So in a perfect metagame, let's grab the calculator quickly. So in a perfect case, I would like to see 7.14% behind every single hero, but that's never gonna happen, I guess. But I don't know, like, I feel when you have almost 25% of your meta going to a particular hero, that's not really good. And they say 5 different heroes spread across 5 different classes posting double-digit event win percentages. Yeah, I guess so, but when one hero has double the event wins from the 5th one, then I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm a nitpick for balancing games in general. People know that of me in Warhammer, people know that of me in Magic the Gathering, and people know that of me in Flesh and Blood in general. I want everything to be balanced. I know that's never gonna happen, especially when people favor certain heroes over other heroes. They're going to have more event wins in general, but I don't agree with the statement that they're satisfied with the Blitz metagame. The Blitz metagame, in my honest opinion, and like before, when I used to advertise Flesh and Blood to newer players, the thing that I could advertise the most to new players is, like, if you play Flesh and Blood, you're playing a very balanced game where each player has a very distinct chance of winning based on their skill. And with Briar in the metagame, I feel that skill level doesn't really matter much, because if you, for example, play a deck like Kasai, let's take Kasai as an example, and you're paired up against a Briar player, what are you gonna do? What skillful play can a Kasai player do to beat a Briar deck? Same with, I don't know, a Reiner that gets paired up against a Briar. Like, a Reiner player will have a lot of trouble beating a Briar deck unless they have that turn 1 double barraging beatdown into a big hit, pushing Briar down to low health at the start of the game. But other than that, they're gonna have a very hard time against a deck like this, because they need cards to pitch, they need to do their big attacks, etc, etc, so I don't know Legend Story Studios, but as an experienced Blitz player, and I think I'm probably in the top 1% of Blitz players in the entire world. You can check my tournament records. I played thousands of games of Blitz, even outside events. I playtest another thousands of events on my own just to optimize my decks for the Patreon, and Briar is a problem. And even if you watch my recent video where I took Briar and constructed to the content creator event where I didn't even bring any equipment and I still managed to win, that's really a red flag to me. But yeah, let's move on. I'm just going to be complaining for an hour over this thing. Please change this. This isn't fair. This deck is not fun to play against, and it's costing you players. And I think if you want the game to succeed, something needs to change. Even if you change the token or you change the hero itself, but this cannot remain the way it is. So Living Legend updates. We are changing when a hero that has reached the Living Legend threshold is no longer legal for official tournament play. Previously, this only occurred upon the release date of a new booster set. The threshold check is being expanded to also include the date of each scheduled banned and restricted announcement. To become a living legend, becoming a living legend, it's hard to read. English is a very difficult language, especially for a foreigner like myself. The becoming a living legend section of the card legality policy has been updated to reflect this. So what are we looking at right now? Briar. So as of December 14 has 400 points. Wow. That's a lot. Chain has 442. That's a lot of points. But they did say they are going to take some actions after the season has concluded, right? So I guess at least in CC, Briar will probably get a hit or two, but look at those points. And that's just from until December 14 today, right? So there's gonna be even more points once the calling concludes and once those nationals conclude, so let's see. Maybe they wanted to conclude just for the sake of these heroes becoming a living legend earlier? I don't know, maybe that's one of the motivations. But let's see, yeah, Blitz living legend, so Ira, let's see. Ira has 262, Ira is really getting up there, Ira has a lot of wins. And Briar is now at 111, so in Blitz we are not gonna really get rid of Briar anytime soon. Ira is now past the halfway mark, I can see, because Young Hero Living Legends threshold is 500, so Ira might be around for maybe 1 or 2 more years, and then it's probably gonna be a new ninja hero that will need to take her spotlight. But I think Katsu in the current metagame is very good as well, so it's not really a 100% must to play an Ira deck anymore like it used to be in the pre-crew metagame. But she is getting there, and like I said, Ira is one of the strongest deck in Blitz. Period, and still then when you look at the percentages here, Ira is struggling, people. She only has a 13.6% event win rate, and I know so many people have been running this deck. I think what would be fair is, alongside this data that they show here, what I would love to see is, like, not just the events won, but how many of each hero has been played. Because if, let's say you have a pool of 100 people and like 40 of them play Briar and only 2 of them play Kasai, then seeing numbers like this would have been very normal, right? Like, so I would love to know how many of these heroes have actually seen play this season. I know that Ira has seen a lot of play from the skirmishes that I personally followed, and also the skirmish that I've been to where I navigated the deck myself. I know Dorinthia sees a lot of play because there's just a lot of Dorinthia fans out there in general, but yeah, let's see. I'm curious what they're gonna do. I'm really curious what they're gonna do. So the next bans and restriction announcement will be on February 2nd, 2022. In my honest opinion, I really expected that something in the Briar deck would have gotten banned. But unfortunately it didn't, and it looks like we're gonna have to deal with that for another 1.5 months or so. Yeah, it's 14 today, so a little bit over 1.5 months. Not sure how I can bring this news to my local scene. I think a lot of people that were kind of looking forward to step back into Flesh and Blood might not do so because of this, but yeah, let me know, how is your personal local scene? Are you having the same issue like mine where people don't really have an answer against the deck? I personally, like, I can beat the Briar deck just by being a good player in general. Like with my Ira deck, I think I have like a 50-50 matchup against the deck, so I don't say it's unwinnable, but the game is still new in many places, and I'm not sure if you want to throw your new players into the Briar meat grinder like that, but yeah, let me know what you think. Am I being too negative? Am I being justified here? Just let me know down below. Let's start a good discussion down there, and feel free to browse through the comments if you see somebody making a statement that you feel is interesting. I would love it. It would actually help my channel a lot if you people would communicate with each other over here on the channel. Also, for people that do watch my videos, if you have a remark about my video, please leave it in the comments. Like, there are many of you that watch my videos but then message me personally on Discord. I appreciated that you watched it, and I appreciated that you comment to me, but it would be so much more of a help if you just left it down in the comment section, because that helps the YouTube algorithm and that helps me to gain a wider audience. And I need to make a living of creating content like this, and the only way to do that is by moving the channel forward. Anyways, that's all from me for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me ranting and complaining for how long? Half an hour or something. And I will see you all soon with some new Flesh and Blood content. Take care.